we've put together a new object store API. This is intending to supersede the Dojo data API. This is actually built around the HTML5 indexed database object store API. So first of all, it gives us more of a standards-based API for how we separate our different data stores from our widgets. It's also extremely simple to use. There's just a few methods to implement. It makes it very easy for you to implement your own data stores. It has a clean interface. It's also making more consistent use of promises for bridging the gap between synchronous and asynchronous stores. So I think we also utilize just plain objects rather than opaque items. So I think all these things come together to make a store API that's just going to be really easy for people to use, really easy to build with, really easy to layer functionality with.
In terms of new features, there's a lot of great features for 1.6, a couple of which I'll highlight. The first one is I've been interested in the real-time web, or Comet, for many more years than most people care to have thought about the problem. And Dojo 1.6 has a new implementation called Dojo Socket. And what it does is it makes it really easy to use the new WebSocket implementation, the API for that, whether WebSockets are supported in that browser or not, as well as it works with a whole number of different servers, different protocols, different interfaces. So it's a really, really simple way on the client side to do Comet with virtually any Comet server. So you can quickly get real-time notifications or real-time collaborative drawing or any other real-time application working much more simply than you could before. Another problem that I've had is CSS, which is how you style things in a web application. It's got a lot of features, but it's actually really quite tedious to work with. It doesn't, to date, have a lot of key features that a programming language has, and that was because of performance reasons. They wanted to keep CSS this small, simple, lean thing. But what it meant is if you have a color defined for 50 different parts of your application, you often have to define it 50 different times. And so when you go to change a color, you change it 50 times in your thing. And that's just kind of silly. So there's a number of projects that have emerged. The one that interests us most is called Less. And what Less is it lets you write CSS in a CSS-like language, but you have variable replacements and logical loops and other statements that programming languages have. And then it uses JavaScript to take that CSS and replace it on the fly with the real CSS used by the page. So the developer gets something that's much more developer-friendly, but the end user is not impacted at all. And so we've taken that great technology from the open source community and we use it now for Dojo's themes in 1.6. So it should be much easier for Dojo users to create their own themes, much less tedious and much easier for us as a project to maintain as well.
This sounds kind of silly, but I'm really excited for the data attribute support that's coming with Dojo 1.6. One of the things that really bothered me at first with Dojo is use of things like Dojo type as an attribute on your HTML elements, or the DJ config attribute on the script tag, because these are non-validating elements. And there had been some work done that I'm aware of to create a DTD that would actually let you validate your HTML, but it still didn't feel right. And being able to use HTML5 data attributes means that we can write some interesting code that leans on these data attributes that still validates, and I'm kind of nitpicky, so that satisfies something in me.
So that's hard to pick. There are quite a few that really play to our strengths, both in, say, the applications that we're developing internally, as well as kind of the things that I think will benefit just the general Spring web developer the most. For our own needs, I think Dojo charting, there have been some further enhancements to that. That's the thing we've been internally using very heavily. I think there's some new chart implementations actually. And then one of the nice things that I saw is there's actually a new API that actually takes advantage of the new Dojo.store API and actually incorporates that into the charting, and we're investigating that. I think that'll really simplify a lot of the things that we're currently doing in that application. And actually Dojo.store is something that I think will have a general usefulness to the entire Spring community as well, because it fits very well with the way that we advocate building applications on the server side using our RESTful programming model.
We
converted all the modules in Dojo 1.6 to comply with the AMD module specification. AMD stands for Asynchronous Module Definition, and it's a common JS specification proposal. But we've all pretty much in the community, in the Dojo community at least, agreed on this, and Common JS it looks like it's going to agree on this. And this allows Dojo modules to be interoperable with any loader that uses this specification. So you can pick and choose exactly what you need for your particular application without necessarily being married to some foundational parts of Dojo that are there now that are more, very just Dojo, and that would be in particular the Dojo loader. So we're going to have all of our modules now in the AMD format. There's a couple of loaders out there to use the AMD format, namely Jamesburg's required JS and my backdraft loader. And we're hoping and do believe that we'll really make a complete ecosystem of these new modules with this new format that can be completely interoperable. And so you can pick and choose to really build powerful applications. And again, what's the point of Dojo? What's the most bottom line foundational point of a library period? Is to do more while spending less as far as the cost of development, having things done for you before you start. And with this, we are creating a system whereby there'll be more and more of that available. And I think that that's quite powerful. And that would be a 1.6 issue.
Probably the best feature that is in 1.6 that excites me is the new loader. Okay, it actually is going to open up a whole new ability in Dojo to actually load exactly what we need, either statically or asynchronously, which is going to be really key as we look forward to how we're going to actually build user interfaces for mobile devices as well as for websites that are in Asia Pacific, start reducing the amount of code that needs to get downloaded, because you don't need the whole toolkit, you just need the key important pieces, and that's really going to enable all of that.
I'm really looking forward to the Dojo Object Store APIs, which are really going to blend HTML5's object implementation into Dojo's data store implementation, and that's really a great step forward in merging HTML5 with Dojo's data APIs which already exist. I'm also excited about the watch API and digits, which is really going to enable us to watch on anything going on in one widget and respond in another widget. What really helps here is our applications are really getting richer, which means that when changes happen in one widget, we want somewhere else in the UI to know about it and respond. So the watch API is really going to enable that. In the past, we had that need and we had to write quite some code to do that. Now it will be 2 lines of code.
I think the most exciting recent work in Dojo is around the new data binding system, the new data system. One of the big focuses in the toolkit has always been helping people who have very hard problems get to answers faster. You sort of know what you need to do, and a lot of times it's a question of hooking together the bits that you think you already need into a coherent whole. And Dojo has those pieces already through single interfaces that you can easily plug together to build really sophisticated sets of answers. And the new stuff is accelerating that. It's making it even easier to build these really rich applications with visualizations for data and really interactive, rich sorts of drill-in kinds of UIs.
The feature that's starting to get me excited about 1.6 is the widget on, or the widget watch function. The fact that you can watch particular values, add callbacks to when values change, will definitely be a big advantage to me in iFi Center. We use widgets quite extensively in iFi Center. I think the last count I looked at it was up on 15 to 20 widgets that we extend from Dojo. So being able to, without a bunch of Dojo.connects, being able to immediately understand when values change on widgets will be a huge advantage to iFi Center.
I really enjoy using the new mobile work. Kamiyama from IBM has done great work starting off the Dojo mobile project, and I've really enjoyed contributing to it as well. It makes it really easy to write mobile apps, to construct different scenes, and leverages a lot of Dojo's existing framework for building widgets and constructing them on the fly.